Hello. Thank you for co-creating again together today. It's actually nighttime here. It's almost 8 o'clock at night. Here comes Bella. Bella's gonna just say hello to everybody, Bella. Oh, yeah. Bella's like, I just want to cuddle and just hang with you. So she's gonna join me today for this little talk tonight. The reason I'm coming on, I wasn't planning on making a video. I really have been just feeling into these energies that are coming through, and it's been very intensified. I made a post in the community section of my YouTube channel. So if you didn't see the post on Instagram or Twitter, please check it out there because I do a little bit of an energy update, right? And I'm giving you the key points, the pinpoints of what we need to know. But that's not what I want to talk to you about, okay? I I had this moment this morning that was so beyond powerful, because it was this deep, deep aha moment, like this inner knowing when the situation came up for me that just it just changed everything. It just changed so much because you know how everyone is always talking about law of attraction, and I talk about law of attraction, and I always talk to you guys about moving on from wherever you're stuck and how to process through, because thoughts become your emotions after you speak it into a word, right? You have a thought, you put it to action and speak it. And then as that thought is happening and you're speaking it, the emotion is forming. Okay. But I came to understand something that was super powerful. And it happened this morning while I was just hanging out. It was very early. And I had a situation come up where something had happened. And I was just in contemplation of it, thinking about why it couldn't be different. Not for me, it was regarding someone else's decisions and situations, and someone that I would like to see be able to move forward in, their highest way. And I was sitting thinking about that and thinking about the creation part of what was taking place. And as I was thinking about that, I was starting to notice that I was having some lower level feelings, which were associated and tuned to the situation or scenario that they were working through in their reality, right? And so what ended up happening was, in that moment that I was aware I was having the emotions, I thought to myself, oh, now I feel, like I'm kind of tied to the situation myself with the emotional aspect of it, like empathing. And I'm just going to go ahead and shift my thoughts and move my thoughts out of here and create a new pathway for myself so that my emotions will shift. That didn't happen. And as I was having this great awareness that I had shifted my thoughts to something that was more a higher level, something more desirable, something that could actually make me feel very happy. It's in alignment with the direction that I'm headed in and where I want to be. And as I was having these thoughts, I was very, very conscious of the fact that the emotions from the other thought I had were still there. And I thought to myself, why are those emotions still here? I've changed my thoughts and I'm applying new pathways. I spoke it out loud, and I thought to myself, that should surely have changed those emotions that were lower level, that were discordant feeling, that felt like frustration, and I couldn't shake it. So Beth finally woke up and she joined me for our morning cup of coffee, which isn't real coffee anymore. It's more chicory and dandelion root because I gave up coffee a couple of years ago. So we were talking, and I started to talk about this vision that I had for the coming year, for 2024, and what I would like to line up with, what I see and everything. And even though I was talking about something that should have brought me a ton of joy, I could still feel that discordant energy in my field. And I thought to myself, well, I don't know what I need to do to get rid of this discordant feeling, because I've changed my thoughts and I've spoken the new words, and you would think that my emotional body would follow suit, but that didn't happen. So I held on to that until I got into my nail appointment at 11:30 this morning, and I had a pedicure first. And as I was sitting in the chair and just allowing myself to relax in, I had my meditation music on. I think I was listening to solfeggio frequencies, and I went really, really, really deep to the point where I have never experienced this before, but I went so deep that I felt like I was in my body with me. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how it felt. It felt like I was in my body with me. And I had such a deep, profound awareness of being in my body that I didn't realize the energy that I was holding from that discordant energy was creating a low frequency hum in my body. I had never realized that before. I had never really paid attention to emotions in that way, where I could tune in and understand the energy or the frequency of the emotion that was running through my body. And all of a sudden, as happens all the time for me, especially because my background is as a Reiki practitioner, certified in both Usui and Karuna Reiki as a master teacher, which I don't really practice much anymore. It was training for me to open my intuition to, like, almost kind of sort of like a medical medium type of thing, right? So in this moment, I was in tune with my body. I was in tune with what was taking place with that discordant frequency. And the profound moment was, I was so deep where I was that I was noticing there was a hum in my body. It was like a vibration. It was a low, dense hum. And at one point, I had gotten so deep that I actually shifted my frequency enough that whatever I was holding in my right shoulder, which is responsibility, it's all about responsibility, the shoulders in general, but the right side is about forward thinking, or, present moment awareness, right? And I had released, and when it releases, it does like one of those things, right? It'll shake on it spontaneously. I couldn't do it again if I wanted to, the way that it shakes. But that's a release, right? So if those of you that have had Reiki and have had that, where you're laying on the table and you have that kind of release, that's a release. And what that means is the plasma that was trapped in your body, which is very viscous, gets released. And when it moves out of the body, it's like the plasma is so dense in the body that it takes up space. So it creates a pain, or it creates resistance. It creates a frozen shoulder. It creates some kind of issue in the shoulder. The shoulder feels thick and dense then because of it, right? But when you release it, it's like suddenly room has been made in the body. So the body goes through this shirky, jerky kind of release, and you have like a jump. It's almost like when you think you're falling asleep on the sofa and then you suddenly wake up. That's different, because that's your soul trying to exit the body, because it thinks you're going to sleep. So it wants to go on its journey. It does that every night. That's maybe for another video if you're interested in that. But anyway, so this dense energy left my shoulder. And when it left my shoulder, the hum stopped. It was in such a deep place. And then I noticed in that moment, this awareness that I was having to the fact that that frequency that I was carrying in my emotional body completely let go. And I was not carrying the frustration that I have felt earlier. But what was more important was I had this new awareness that because our emotions are magnetic, right? And our thoughts are electric, right? You get the spark. It's like, when you try to set a fire and you're sparking the flint to kick off the spark, to get the spark going so that the fire goes. In the case of the thoughts, it's the spark. It's activation, right? It's a spark of a thought. But in the case of the emotions are magnetic. They magnetize. So what are they doing? They're magnetizing to your whole field, right? It's not just a spark. Now they've magnetized to your field. So they're hanging on. They're hanging on. Plus, because Gaia also has an electromagnetic field around her, you magnetize to Gaia's field. And now you're magnetically connected and charged to Gaia's field, so that it's not just your thought or emotion anymore that you're having that's making you feel this way. It's the emotional charge of every single person on the planet that is feeding that same emotion into the electromagnetic field of Gaia, which is why when people have major illnesses like cancer and MS and Parkinson's and all of that, they have a very, very hard time beating it, because they have to completely unplug from that emotional connection into Gaia and their own field and discharge that emotion. So what happened here was, when I had the awareness of how the magnetics of the heart center worked, that it fed the emotional body in that way, and the emotions was so magnetic that switching the thought to something positive was not enough. It was not enough. It was like a powerful, powerful magnet. And then you're trying to pull that magnet apart, and you can't, because the magnet is too powerful, and it now has a stronghold on whatever it's magnetized to. And you can't shift it with a thought. You just can't. You can't shift it with another thought. You can't even shift it with an action. You cannot shift it by going out and, doing something fun for the day, because when you come back that night, if you haven't shifted the emotion itself, you're going to come back in and have that same emotion, even though you had an amazing, wonderful, fun day. And you're going to be like, why do I still feel like crap? And it's because your thoughts and your actions are not enough to shift the magnetic of the emotional body, which is residing in the heart. So this is where the work is. This is where the work is. Okay. So your job in this, right? Here's the secret to the secret. Here's the secret to the law of attraction. Here's the secret to everything in the universe, because this is the key. If you want a new reality to show up for you, it's not good enough to just change your thoughts. You can't just change your thoughts, because your magnetics are still playing out the old story that you're stuck in, right? And the minute, let's say you do clear the magnetics of that old story, you clear them and you're on to something new and you're feeling good and you're high flying and everything is going great. And then something triggers you back to that old story, back to that old memory, and boom, what happens? Because the density is so much heavier in that lower 3D field, right? We've talked about that in other videos. You're going to magnetize, bam, right back to it. You can't help but magnetize back to that old story again, because the density is so much greater than the higher vibrational emotional state of consciousness in a feel-good moment. Because the feel-good moment is very, very high. It's almost angelic in sound. But that lower, discordant, distorted energy is going to be like a heavy bass sound. because it's what we've played in on the earth all of these years. So it's not enough to change your thoughts and change your actions. It's not enough. In order to shift your reality, you have to create a new emotion. There is no other way, because emotions are magnetic. And those emotions are going to magnetize to whatever it is. They're going to stay with you until you effectively, in a very strong, focused way, step out of that magnetic field and shift your thoughts so strongly, creating a new emotional pathway, and then taking action to that pathway. That is the key to lining up with higher states of creation. That is the key. So your homework is to check yourself. Be a conscious observer to your emotional state of being. And check in and ask yourself, where are my emotions in this moment? Where are they? Are they thinking about that next pair of shoes I want to get, or that next tool I need, or that next art supply, or that next car, or that next house, or everything will be great when I do this trip, everything will be great when I read this book, everything will be great when I meet this person, my life will be settled when I'm finally married, right? Check your thoughts, because those thoughts that I just rattled off are outside of you. And the only thing that's going to make you whole in your wholeness is to be one with yourself and to love yourself completely, wholly and completely. Love yourself. Okay? And so if your thoughts are anywhere but right here and right now, you're in the future or you're in the past. And now is all there is. So check yourself, check your emotions. Where are your emotions? And here's the trick. You want to get out of that emotional distortion. If you're feeling low, if you're feeling depressed, you're in the past with your thoughts. If you're feeling anxious, you're probably in the future with your thoughts. So you want to be present, because that is where you're going to have the greatest clarity. Okay? Now, the key to fixing this, the key to a better outcome, a better reality, because remember, your thoughts are creating your reality. Your thoughts become a thing. Thoughts become things. And then it's cast in the reality, right? Because think about this. Your reality has a bazillion frequencies, and the higher frequencies carry greater gifts and greater fun and greater things to look forward to, right? But the lower frequencies are going to carry struggle. It's going to carry pain. It's going to carry suffering, because it's a lower frequency. It's just how it works. So in every moment, we get to choose, do we want to operate in the higher frequency, or do we want to operate in the lower frequency? Which place are we wanting to operate in? And that is how we're navigating our reality. When we have in a moment where we recognize that our thoughts then become words, and the words become actions, and all of that together becomes the emotional body, we have to be very careful about the thoughts we're thinking first. And then we want to be even more careful about the words we're telling. So if we're gossiping, we're staying in that lower negative density. And the emotions that are magnetizing to that are going to be lower distorted emotions. No matter how you think a better high-flying thought, it's not going to matter, because you're magnetizing to lower, denser emotions. Okay? So if we want to be really clear, we have to look at stuff that's taking place in our life and let it go. If it's not important to you, let it go. If it's not right in your immediate reality, let it go. Just let it be. It doesn't have to be looked at under a magnifying glass. And, I do an amazing job of doing this on like every day, all day, all day. You can ask anybody that knows me, very well, that I live my work. This is what I am. This is who I am, right? But today, something this morning got in my head, right? Thinking like, why can't they see what they're doing? They just don't see what they're doing. How can I help them understand or see more clearly so they stop doing what they're doing? Because things are showing up for them that are making them unhappy, that are making them uncomfortable. But it's the things that they're doing, it's the thoughts that they're thinking. It's all us. It's always us. It's always going to be us, right? And I know that may trigger some of you, and you might be like, that stinks to hear that it's always us. It's always me. But it's always going to be us because we're the ones creating our reality. All right. So if you want to change your reality, here's the key. Take a breath, close your eyes, drop into your heart for just a second, and focus on the breath coming into your heart and out of your heart. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter how you do that, right? Doesn't matter if you hold your breath for a count of 4 and then release for a count of 4 and then take another breath in for a count of 4. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you count to 10. Doesn't matter. All you want to do is close your eyes, because while your eyes are closed, your ego is not in the way. When the eyes are open, the ego is in the way. Okay? So close your eyes, get the ego out of the way, drop into the heart center, and now start breathing in and out of the heart center. And do this until you do not feel connected to whatever lower emotion, right? Frustration, anger, resentment, right? Because we'll feel anger at something and we'll go into anger, and that's the story we're telling. But then because we can't shake the anger, we suddenly compound it with resentment. Now we're resentful because now we can't get out of this. We're stuck. We don't know how to get out of this. We don't even realize that we're not just angry, we're resentful. Okay. And, I'm seeing a lot of people out there with liver issues. This is a key factor, right? Anger, resentment, frustration. It's all liver energy. Okay. So we want to keep our liver healthy, keep our liver detoxed of our discordant thoughts and emotions. And this is the key. You're going to go in, you're going to have some really deep breathing with your heart, communing with your heart. And when you feel that emotion let go, or you feel it lighten, I want you to choose something that makes you happy. Think about that, and then practice feeling the happy associated with that new thought. Practice feeling it. But if you don't try to move that discordant emotion out first, it doesn't matter what thought you bring in or what happy you try to feel on top of that. It's not going to work, because you are locked in magnetically to that discordant energy, and you have to release that discordant energy first, because before you can bring in a new energy to magnetize to. Okay, so I hope that this helps you. We're going to go back to doing some more soul contract stuff, because I had a couple more questions come up, and I want to do another video on that. But I felt like this was really important, and it was such a strong awareness that I was having. It was like this very, very powerful aha moment that I could share this with you in this way. So I hope this helps you. As always, if you find this information useful, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and also drop me a comment and let me know that it's helping you. Those two things move me up in the algorithms. It makes it easier for me to be seen. I'm so deeply appreciative for people that come into this community, because it means consciousness is shifting. It's shifting in such a positive, powerful, quick way right now. So I'm super, super excited to engage with everybody and to grow this community. So if you find in your heart to do that, give me a like and also drop me a comment and just say hi. If you're new here, just say hi. I'd love to meet you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. As always, I love you so, so, so very much. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I look forward to joining you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.